you'll notice a lot of common threads in these ad examples, I think, where we're using a lot of quick cuts. Keep that attention. If you went to the trouble of grabbing somebody's attention, why just go ahead and lose it right away after you've done that? If the first 3 seconds are the most important, well, then the next 3 seconds are also very important. And then the following 3 seconds are also very important. Right. You eventually have to have a bridge, like we talk about hook to bridge, kind of you weigh those out collectively and score them together. This is kind of doing that. The best people at hook and bridge concept will kind of keep you guessing on both angles all the time, whether it's a hook or the bridge or some combination of both, really.
What is up, Modern Commerce listeners? I want to show you an amazing app we've been using called Triple Whale. You can check it out at trytriplewhale.com. It has all of the business health metrics and growth metrics you could possibly need all in one place, right? So everybody can get on the same page. This has revolutionized our ability to help grow brands and collaborate with brands. Everyone can get on the same page on the most important metrics. So if you're a media buyer, you can come into this and you can just use this little pin icon right here, and you can pin to the top the most important stuff to you. So if I'm a media buyer, I might have ROAS, I might have ad spend, I might have new customer ROAS, right? But if I'm an owner, maybe those things aren't as important to me. Maybe I just want, net profit, show me the net profit, show me the sales, right? Show me the number of orders. So everyone on the team can get in line, get, on the same page of what the most important growth metrics are, because it's different for every brand. So grab Triple Whale at trytriplewhale.com. Use it. I promise you it will make your growth path far more clear. And enjoy this episode of Modern Commerce.
Hey, Modern Commerce, welcome back. You're here with Casey and John. We've got another hot episode coming at you today. We're going to be discussing the secret to making Facebook ads that work. John, what's your initial take on this?
Is that all? We're just the secret to making Facebook ads that sell lots of stuff.
I mean, we could try to cover the meaning of life as well.
Pretty simple. We could probably cover that in 10 minutes, right?
Yep.
Just here's how you get rich.
Yeah, that's usually all it takes. Usually we jump on new client accounts, and then we spend about 10 minutes thinking, and then they all of a sudden ROI times 10 after that, right?
Yeah, that's typical process. Yeah. No, to clarify further, I'm going to say that this is the number one secret, because there's a whole lot to unpack in copywriting and psychology of why people buy things and stuff like that. But the very first thing you need to do is get people's attention in a relevant way. Which is kind of what we're talking about today. How do you get people's attention, lots of people's attention, and then convert that attention into desire for your product?
Yeah. So it's about grabbing attention, leveraging that to the next stage of kind of just preparing them for a pitch, some kind for a product or for a service or whatever. Anyway, we both have several examples. I think we have a total of 10, 5 apiece. John, we did not decide before the episode. Who should go first here, man? Let's play this little game. Last time we did this, I was like, I'm going. And you were like, I wanted to play a game. So what game do you want to play?
I don't know what game I want to play. I just thought you'd come up with something. You're the game guy.
Odds or evens? I got a number behind my back.
Evens. All right. Does that mean you go first?
That means I pick. And
we didn't decide what that means.
I'll go first. Okay. I get to decide. So I'm going to share.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to share my screen here and we'll get to it. Okay. Can you see my screen, John?
I can see your screen. You can see that you're on the Happy Viking website.
Oh, that's not where I meant to be. Spoiler alert, guys. Oops. That'll come later.
Ooh, okay. All right.
One
of our faves here. One of our all-time faves.
Yeah. So we're gonna probably go into more detail on certain examples more than others, but this one is just a quick hitter. I think it's a great top of the order kind of thing. If you're sports analogy right there, leadoff batter. This one's gonna be quick. Out of the box. We're specifically looking at hooks here, which in a video asset, we talk about the first 3 seconds and leveraging that into a sales opportunity, basically, which we call the bridge.
Yeah, we call this the hook and bridge concept, right?
Yep.
So hook gets people's attention, it hooks people, and then the bridge, how do we take those people? Because sometimes we got to hook them and get their attention in a way that maybe isn't super relevant to our product or our pitch. We got to meet them where they are. Then how do we bridge that into being able to kind of pitch them on our product? Casey,
right? So sometimes the most attention grabbing hooks like a person falling off of a building, for example, is an example that came up recently on one of our talks. That can be great at grabbing attention, but it might put a lot of weight on the bridge to actually selling the product, whatever it is you're trying to sell. So anyway, enough about that.
So
let's get
just
right
really
to
quick.
it.
You might have cut out there for a second, but yeah, just if you use a really attention grabbing hook that gets a lot of attention but isn't relevant to the product at all, then you really need a strong bridge to bring them to the product. Or you could use the not so attention grabbing hook that's really relevant to the product. You don't need as much bridge.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It was exactly what you just said, but you like skipped out.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't want to restart the episode because that's how we roll.
That is how we roll. We just go with the flow.
Yep.
So continuing to go with the flow, John, let me know what you think of this one. Oh, by the way, I don't think each other have seen our examples. So, or maybe I have seen some of yours. Anyway, never mind. Yeah. Here we go. I don't have any volume. We don't really need it on this one. This is an ad for Chubbies. Quick and painless.
This is like a whole ad of hooks too.
Yeah. I tend to
stop this anywhere in the ad, and it could be the hook.
Yeah, so the first 3 seconds, we'll replay that right here. So 1, 2, 3. So much happens just in those first 3 seconds. Even I like the video, the post thing they did were flipping the video into reverse. Obviously, it's kind of intriguing. A guy kind of rising up anti-gravity out of a pool. That's crazy. What he's
coming
wearing
up out of the water, being dry.
Right. And what he's wearing is crazy when you see what he's wearing, and not just crazy, but it's also like crazy as in like loud, bright colors, which are extra attention grabbing too. And just like the style of it is like very like retro looking. Is this retro still? Like 80s? I don't know if that's retro or not, but
it's
know what I mean. Yeah, this guy just like, you don't see this guy in regular life, So anything that's like out of place from the norm could be a pretty attention grabbing thing for a hook. And then you got these like text pop-ups, quick cuts. Another like constant I think I see in like just good ads altogether, but especially in that attention grabbing like hook phase. That's Chubbies.
Yeah, look, I mean, so those first second or two where he's coming up out of the pool, I am kind of like, what's going on here? And then it's like, this exists, and it's like, what? And then the swimmeralls. Okay, we're bridged. Oh, you're talking about the thing you're wearing right now, the swimmeralls. And what? And all pool. Oh, they're like swimsuit overalls, right? So it brings you what's happening. The swimmeralls. Oh, you're talking about the thing you're wearing. Oh, they're swimsuit. That's overalls. Oh, interesting. Okay. Now it's not for everybody, right? So it probably gets a lot of people's attention that then when they realize what it is, they're like, okay, that's weird. You know what I mean? But it that's the point. Chubbies is like, we're just going to get everyone's attention. And some people are going to be like, that's kind of fun. That's kind of cool. I'm going to buy that,
That's a good thing to mention there. A lot of brands take that strategy of like, hook, try to just open the floodgates, get as much traffic through that hook as possible, most attention grabbing thing, and then maybe let the bridge kind of qualify people a little bit more. Once you kind of realize, it's about this like product for swimming that's like swimmeralls. Some people might fall off. That's okay. We're filtering out people who would have never bought it anyway. But it actually, for a 13-second ad, I think it does a pretty good job of priming you for when you ultimately land on like the product page for the swimmeralls. You will, know what you're coming for. You've already been told some of the benefits of it. You've been shown the benefits even in a visual way, which is nice. You kind of have what is essentially somewhat of an outfit to begin with, and then it turns into just your swim trunks. So pretty cool. Nicely done ad. Good job at grabbing attention. I'd say very strong hook, pretty strong bridge. So therefore the combination is like pretty to very strong of hook bridge.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair way to kind of grade these.
Right.
All right, John, I'll go ahead and stop my screen share and you can take over, baby.
I will take over.
I don't know why I called you baby. That was a little weird, but whatever.
Yeah,
you're a full grown man.
We could probably do without that. Yep.
That's okay. Yeah.
All right. So here's the actual ad. I don't think it needs sound either. I'll restart it here. So ready, set, go.
Hey-o.
3 seconds. That's the end of the hook. So here's the thing about Udi. The Udi, if you're not familiar with them, they're these products right there. It's a blanket, but it's cut into a sweatshirt basically. And so this, already you can probably tell what the Udi has like a very hookable product. Like you could just show someone wearing this and it's kind of weird, right? So already it's kind of hooky. So like I want to kind of distinguish here, like what is actually a good hook within the concept of the Udi. And so we've got a couple elements here. So kid dancing, fast motion, boom, like that, like kind of some effect of like something getting thrown. This is actually a popular one right now. Something getting thrown, and then when it like hits the thing it's getting thrown at, there's a transformation, like something get thrown at someone and then they're wearing it, or a blanket getting thrown at a bed and then it's like spread out over the bed, right? There's some kind of effect transformation. So all of those are just good attention grabbing hook elements. You know, everybody wants to know why this kid's dancing. Everybody wants to know what the heck he's wearing, and it's transforming. And then all your favorite colors now available as an Udi. Characters now available as an Udi. Oh, okay. It's about, they're like this product, this thing you can wear is Looney Tunes, right? So it just kind of bridges you right there, right? At first, you probably don't know what the heck's going on here, what this is about. You might start recognizing some characters. And then by, 6-7 seconds, we're bridged, and it's all visual, right? Like you could read the stuff, right? Like you can read the text, but visually you're bridged there. You're a little confused at first, which is actually not a bad way to hook people, like confuse them visually with something that they're like, I need to look more at that to see what's happening there. And now if you confuse them visually the wrong way, then they're confused and they're like, okay, I'm moving on from that because I'm confused. But if you confuse them the right way, then they're like, I need to look at that because what is it? So right. A little confused because what's going on here. By 6 seconds visually, you get it, right? Like nobody needs to explain to you what the Udi is. It's like, oh yeah, they're like these you might not know it's a blanket, right? But you're like, oh, it's kind of like this comfy looking oversized pajama sweatshirt thing and with Looney Tunes characters on it. All right, cool. Again, maybe not for everybody, but another example of like, we're really getting a lot of attention doing the look at me thing. And then, it's fine if that's like not everybody's vibe, right? But like, we want to get as many people's attention as possible. And then we're going to, sell to the people who think it's kind of cool.
And another kind of similarity between this one and the first one that I think is worth calling out here, doesn't always have to be this way, but if you replay the beginning of this kid is sped up a little bit. I mean, we
sped up 2x or 1.5x.
Yeah, you can. It's just subtle enough to where anybody with any like production background or video editing background can tell it's sped up a little bit, and somebody who doesn't might not even realize it, but it catches their eye for whatever reason. Those sped up kind of things, it doesn't look quite natural. Again, doesn't look natural like the first thing. This is done in post. It's sped up similar to the way that the Chubby's guy was played in reverse. These like post-production hooks or things that you can add, even if you aren't having a hook in mind at the time of shooting the concept necessarily. Mm-hmm. So that's something I think that's worth calling out, because it's you don't always have to have the most clever, like storyboarded out hook. Sometimes you can just simply take several different shots of a kind of youngster wearing different, Udis and just kind of splice them together in an interesting way. Add a couple effects. Boom, you got yourself a good ad here. Another thing just to call out here, very secondary kind of point to the rest of it, but even in the text, starting out with a completely capitalized new word, like as far as a text hook goes, not bad. And it's a nice, like one clean, nice sentence. I kind of like the formatting of this like copy, I'd say, like one short line, a few longer supporting lines kind of afterwards. Still short, sweet, to the point. Anyway.
We opened on 2 apparel examples, which are very visual things. Like apparel is one of those things where it's like, you don't need to explain it that much to people,
right.
People get that we wear clothes, that we wear things. Now the Udi, you do need to explain a little. Both of them are ones that maybe you explain a little bit more. They're not your average everyday shirt or pair of shorts, but you don't have to over explain it. Like people will get it pretty quick. Like, oh, you're wearing a thing. It's interesting. It's different. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to people aren't like, oh, you put things on your body. Like you don't have to bring them from that place,
Yeah, no, I think similar to the first one, that one was a pretty to very strong hook, and then a pretty strong bridge. Because like we said with apparel, you don't need the strongest bridge ever, because a lot of it is already like unspoken, but you need a strong hook. I'd say similar to Chubby's, that's like a pretty to very strong hook bridge combo.
Yeah.
All right, this next one up, we have from Supply or Supply Co. Even right here on the thumbnail, it's kind of like, like at first glance, I don't even think you realize what this is exactly. It's kind of like weird lighting, Not everybody has a head that looks like this. It's a head, by the way, with a razor and an ear.
This is like, don't forget about the thumbnail as a hook element, right? Like a lot of people don't customize their thumbnail, or they don't think about the thumbnail. Don't forget about the thumbnail as a hook element. A lot of people are scrolling, especially when they're off Wi-Fi with autoplay video off. So it's like not all these videos are autoplaying. So don't forget your thumbnail for sure.
I would say one other element in this thumbnail that I want to touch on is, and I see this more with like liquids used a lot, but like the way like liquid moves or the way like something smeared looks isn't always like the most natural thing to see, especially on like a social platform where like everything is kind of like dressed up to look nice. Like this kind of looks like messy, and maybe like, I spoiler alert, I have an example later with some liquid that'll look a little messy maybe, or if you could like in some way have like colored gases or something, the way like things move, like certain organic things move, is kind of eye-catching. So keep that in mind. Maybe
take a still of something like pouring out, it like looks weird in still format,
right? Same thing could happen with like smoke or anything that just like isn't something you see move around in like typical nature. Same thing behind the idea of moving a person in reverse with that post editing, or moving the child and the Udi at 1.5 speed or whatever he was at. So same thing. Break up the things people normally see all the time. So here we go. Let's go ahead and watch this ad and break it down. So right away.
So here we are at 5, right? So three, that's 3 to 5. That's kind of where your hook zone.
Yep.
Where you should be into the bridge by now,
Yep. And we went a little long there, but you can see like where there's like kind of that first product mentioned. There's going to be talking about razors, but right away, probably pretty smart if your product has been on Shark Tank to put that right at the top of video asset. That's a hook all on its own, just from like some recognition of how huge that show is. And it's kind of like right at the like crescendo of this segment where they're like, you got a deal, like that's where, if you're watching, you're like, oh, like that's the whole, like I said, crescendo is the word I'm going to stick to there. Anyway, and then also it does they're already there explaining their brand. Sure, we jumped in like kind of right at the end of their pitch or whatever, but pretty natural, organic way to like go from hook to bridge, right? Now you're going to be like, got a deal about what, like lens to be like, all right, now we're going to tell you what we got the deal for, I guess. And all the social proof kind of built up right here. Not a bad idea to kind of slip that in between this transition. So John, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, positioning a razor is always been like, this one has 5 blades, this one has 6 blades. So I think that also a unique thing here is single blade. Oh, wow. Like we're going single blade. But yeah, no, I think like, we got into the crescendo. So a common thing that happens in stories, and as soon as I say this, you guys are going to think of a movie that does this or a book that does this and start to recognize it all the time, is we start at a middle state or even a close to end state. Like it opens on a middle state or opens on the crescendo or opens on the climax. And then before it tells you what happens at the climax, it goes back and tells you, all right, here's how we got here. So 1 week earlier, 3 days earlier, right? So we open on something, you're a little confused, there's stuff going on. And then, okay, 3 days earlier, right? So this is what we've done here. We've opened on the climax, like, oh, a deal. We created the best single blade razor ever. Here's what we did to do that. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, yeah, like it hooks you. And then we've bridged by saying, oh, it's a single blade razor. Interesting. A Shark Tank deal for a razor. Why? Now we're bridged into wanting to understand what this razor is all about.
We use a lot of sports analogies on this show too. And John, I wonder, have you ever heard the 8th batter in a baseball lineup be called the second cleanup batter?
I have not. It makes sense though, because if the cleanup batter actually cleans up, then your 8th batter is going to have men on bases again. Or if we go through and we get outs, your 8th batter is probably going to have men on bases.
Right. So that's the idea. For anybody who's not a baseball fan, usually you call your 4th batter the cleanup batter, because you could have the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd batter all get on base. Bases are loaded. Let the 4th guy, who's usually like one of your best hitters, score all the runs essentially. And then, kind of more of an inside baseball term, you have the 5, 6, 7 batters kind of loading up the bases again, and that 8th batter is that second cleanup batter. It's really a nice way to make usually the 8th batter feel better about himself. It's not usually the case. Usually he's a pretty bad hitter, but that's kind of what we would call him. I actually think this ad does that pretty well, because again, here at 6 or 7 seconds, they utilize that same thing Chubby's did, where they're going to go ahead and like, hey, just in case you're about to check out, let's grab your attention again right here with this, again, reverse kind of out of the water. kind of, again, just looks different. And if you were ever thinking about checking out here, you're like, whoa, okay, it's coming at me. All right. And then quick cut right to this other thing. You'll notice a lot of common threads in these ad examples, I think, where we're using a lot of quick cuts. Keep that attention. If you went to the trouble of grabbing somebody's attention, why just go ahead and lose it right away after you've done that? If the first 3 seconds are the most important, well, then the next 3 seconds are also very important. And then the following 3 seconds are also very important. Right. You eventually have to have a bridge, like we talk about hook to bridge, kind of you weigh those out collectively and score them together. This is kind of doing that. The best people at hook and bridge concept will kind of keep you guessing on both angles all the time, whether it's a hook or the bridge or some combination of both, really. So just wanted to call that out. Anything else on this one before we wrap it up, John?
No, I think that's good.
All right, dude. You're up.
All right, back to me. All right. Taking the screen back. There's Udi. I can get rid of those two. High key. All right. This is we do have insight into this ad. Is a very good performing ad. It's quick. I mean, that's the whole ad. We're done. Now we're replaying it. Stop motion ad. I actually like the stop motion ads. So I'm going to unpack this a little bit. And I'm going to say, actually, so this ad is hook, bridge, and sales pitch all in 5 seconds.
Yep.
It all condensed, right? You can do these things kind of at the same time. They can overlap each other, right? So if you've ever read about like the LF8 desires, the Life Force 8 desires, the reason I think this is an incredible hook bridge is because it is a hook bridge for people who like emphasize opposite LF8 desires of each other, right? So 2 LF8 desires. Well, one LF8 desire is enjoyment of food and beverage. And then other ones are things like preservation of life, social acceptance, keeping up with the Joneses, sexual companionship, things like that, right? So those ones are all reasons people are interested in like being healthy, in losing weight, and like looking good and stuff like that, right? So if you're in one of those categories of the strongest LF8 desire for you is something that kind of drives you to like, I want to be healthy. I know I should be healthy because, I don't feel good. I'm uncomfortable, and comfort is one of the LF8 desires, or because I'm, probably going to die young, right? Like, in preservation of life is one of the LF8 desires, or, I want to look better so that the opposite sex likes me more, sexual companionship. So if you're one of those people who's like health is on the mind, which is a huge, huge market, as we know, then this right here, especially if you've ever done anything keto, this is inside baseball language to you. Only 1 G net carbs, 1 gram net carbs, right? So all of those people who are like in that, what's going to catch their attention is something that will make them like healthier or look better or feel better or something like that. Only 1 G net carbs right there. And then we're bridging with, only 1 G net carbs. Wait a second. That looks freaking delicious. Really? Like, that's healthy for me? No way that's healthy for me. Right? Or if you're a person who's like, enjoyment of food and beverage is going to be the thing that like really catches your eye and really speaks to you, then here we go. Boom. 1, 2, 3, already you're like, that looks really only 1 G net carbs. Wow. So like, I'm going to enjoy that. Also, it's going to be healthy for me. So that's cool too, I guess. Now we're all the way through the sales pitch even. So we hooked, we bridged, and we don't need to say anything more about it, right? Like what they're selling is the wafers, right? So you're going to go through the product page, you're going to see the wafers, but you're hooked, and maybe you're not all the way sold on just the wafers. Maybe you're sold on like, hey, can I buy this dessert? Maybe. But yeah, I mean, the wafers have been contextualized and you've been shown a use case for them.
One thing I love when we talk about hooks or bridges, I guess, and to some degree too, are like formatting hooks. And what I mean by that is like something like stop motion is like a format to an ad you could use, and stop motion is like kind of inherently like hooky because, again, it's doing movement you wouldn't normally see in life. Like, things are happening in a way that don't make sense all at once. That kind of confusion comes in, and it kind of leads to a bigger like end state. And before you know it, you're like, I see this like cool thing. It just happened right before my eyes in a weird way. So what I like about that is those are things you can reuse, those formats like stop motion. You can use that in another ad too, where it's a different concept altogether. You're doing something totally different. Similar to those like post-production hooks of putting something in reverse. I think one example I called out earlier was like person falling off of a building. That's a strong hook. Yes, but it can only be used in and of itself. Like you can't take that concept and kind of use it somewhere else, really, right? Like that doesn't make any sense. And one last thing I'd just say on that one, even like the headline there, again, kind of like one big bold word in the headline and the 5 stars. I know some people on Facebook ads are from the school of thought of like, don't use those 5 stars, but in a way that's kind of a visual hook for like a headline, so trying to touch on some more outside of the box things. I know we're kind of keeping it more to video hooks right now, but it's worth mentioning as we go through these things. All right, so moving along here onto my, what is this, 3rd example now? Hey, we're making pretty good time here. Okay, so this one is Boom by Cindy Joseph. We'll kind of scroll up a little bit more so we can see it better. And yeah, you can just watch it for yourself. Well, let me make sure it's at the beginning, sorry. Okay, so this one we're 8 seconds in, so we're well past the hook there. But what I wanted to call about this one is, I would say Boom by Cindy Joseph actually, of all the brands we're looking at, maybe doesn't have the strongest hooks proper, like, right out of the gate. A lot of the beginning of their video assets and like looking for hooks for this show, for examples for the show, a lot of the beginning of their videos actually look a lot like this, where it kind of just opens up on a woman of a certain age, just kind of talking to the camera, which is not a good hook. Just
their avatar. It's not because of the woman or her age, just to be clear. No, just a person straight on talking to camera it's common. It's too common to be a good hook.
Exactly. Right? There's nothing unnatural about that.
Right. Yeah.
Right. You see people talking to you in a POV way all the time, all day long, basically. So nothing unnatural about that. One of the reasons I pulled this one out is because they actually do something a little different here with this kind of the bright colors. They do a couple of quick cuts. In the first 3 seconds, we do get a few different frames. That's something pretty unnatural for them. But really the reason why we grab an example like this is not so much for the hook. This is one where I'd say the hook is still relatively like okay, at least compared to the stuff in their ad account. It's a little better than most, but they do this bridge so well. They go, first of all, this ad itself is 5 minutes long. So this woman keeps talking and it goes through all different kinds of benefits of this brand and the products they're selling here. And then it lands you on this advertorial page, which does even more pre-selling. So it goes so hard into the bridge that, I guess you can buy something here, but it wants you to consume content first. So a lot of times content is more that bridge, content is like content you can like digest like this, like 5 makeup tips for older women. That's rarely going to be the hook itself. But a lot of times I think that signifies the bridge. And here it does a lot with the pre-selling, kind of past the bridge, honestly, to like when we're like, we're clearly pitching the product at this point.
Right. So I think, it brings you bridge naturally to product. I think the way that they started this probably, and how most people start with a pre-sell or an advertorial, is they probably started with some kind of image ad that was just like hey, 5 makeup tips for older women, just content in the news feed type of thing, right? Kind of thing you see all the time on Facebook, Instagram is, some tips, 5 tips listicle article. Right now, they've been running this 5 makeup tips pre-sale for so long that all of those ads have probably gotten fatigued at this point. And so they've had to come up with some like new kind of ads, right? And this is probably what they've tested and found works. And maybe with their like avatar, their kind of like older female avatar, like really educating a lot is what works. That's why they have long videos. That's why they still go from a long video to the pre-sale, right? That could actually be like what's working for them. But I think what really would like kind of nail down the concept of hook bridge when you're using a pre-sale or an advertorial, the classic is like, it just be like kind of an image ad that's just says like 5 makeup tips for older women, like how to look beautiful even in your 60s. How do you look beautiful without looking fake in your 60s type of thing, right? So it's, like curious, it's content, it's going to be a value exchange of like information. And then that content is going to bridge us to product.
So if we're judging the hook to bridge combination here, overall, again, not the strongest hook, like so-so hook. And then as it goes, like kind of weak hook, as the bridge starts, like, okay, there's something here. And then as the bridge keeps going, it's just stronger and stronger to the point where like they seamlessly blend from like bridge to selling, which is kind of like
bridge is amazing.
The back end of this hook bridge concept. They start weak and go stronger all the way through to where they average out to be a really solid score combined, I would say.
Yeah, I would say, and this isn't against them. Like they're pretty advanced marketers. So like, I'm not saying like, oh, their hook isn't strong. I think their hook is probably the right hook that works best for them, right? From a just pure judgment of like how hooky or how attention grabbing a hook is not all that attention grabbing, and that's fine. But they really focus on the bridge and like you said, the back end of the bridge, where we go from bridge to like, okay, we're fully pitching you the product now. Like we hooked you, we got your attention, then we bridged you to the product. Now we're fully pitching you to the product. They make that side of the bridge very seamless, very, very seamless. So even if they don't get as many eyeballs with the hook, like the opposite of Chubby's, where it's like, we're just going to get a ton of eyeballs and then maybe not everybody will be into it. Maybe they don't get as many eyeballs. The ones they do get, they bring so seamlessly into a pitch that they're like, those ones stick around for so long that they're like, oh yeah, I mean, yeah, they're going to convert. Like a lot of them.
Chubby's is open up the floodgates totally, and we'll qualify and filter as we go. Boom by Cindy Joseph is a little bit the opposite. They're kind of qualifying from the beginning. And if you make at a certain point, once you make it, you're like, oh, the conversion rate at a certain point, once they're probably one scroll down on this pre-sale page, I'm sure the conversion rate is through the roof.
Right. Yep.
Compared to anything Chubby's does at any point in their funnel, probably because they still just have so much volume.
Right.
So.
Exactly. Yep. Cool. Oh, I guess I'm up, huh?
You're up. That's how this works, man.
This is kind of a weird, but if you're watching this far into the episode, you probably like, what are you doing with your hair, bro? Like if you watch Modern Commerce, you'll know that in the last episode, I had both a beard and longer hair than this. So I'm like very like, I need to touch my face and my head all the time now because I just changed it up. All right. So moving on.
Confessions of a marketer right there. I don't know.
I know.
I don't know what else to call that.
Okay. So Jones Road Beauty. I won't actually contextualize what the product is here. Just because I think that's like fair, right? Like, does this hook and bridge get me there? I have sound on. Should we watch? We've been watching with sound off. Let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll restart here. All right. So we're through the hook now.
I think you didn't want to tell us what the product was because we're men and we don't even know what I'll say I don't know what this product really is.
You don't fully know.
No, not really. No. You know, it's something you put on your face. It's makeup. But they do a great job there. I will say
right. So we're well into the selling at this point. We should be bridged. Yep. Okay. So let me break this down first. From a hook standpoint, it's all a lot of really visual, like it's not overly creative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so it's not overly creative or overly attention grabbing as a hook, but this is a like Cindy Joseph is like very not attention grabbing, but like, hey, anyone who's hooked by this at all will get onto the bridge. And then we're just going to focus on making the bridge really good.
It's very relevant to what you're ultimately trying to sell them.
Right. So whereas Chubby's is like, hey, we want everyone to get hooked. And then like, yeah, a bunch of people will like, you know, just turn around once they get on the bridge or whatever. Jones Road's kind of going down the middle here where it is a little bit more attention grabbing, but it's very relevant, attention grabbing in a way that's very relevant to the product. So a couple things here, you know, just like satisfying, they're using satisfying actions. So opening something like that, putting your finger into, there's like something satisfying into like a certain consistency of things, plus the product itself is bright. And then boom, 2 seconds in, while we're still in the hook, we have hinted at the bridge. So we're like, okay, we open something that creates a little curiosity, a little satisfaction. We did that creates some more satisfaction. Introducing this, now we kind of know what it is. What does that mean? Introducing Flush Miracle Balm. Interesting. What is that? Okay. With her, maybe it's not so strong that, okay, so she's putting it on. I can't see the effect too much with her. She looked good before. She looks a little better after, but then look how they progress through okay. So they ease you in, right? So they actually do a pretty good job on the bridge too, of making the bridge pretty seamless. So it's like, we're satisfying, we're product relevant. You know, we're not going to hook as many people, but we're going to bring some people in. We're going to intro it, open some loops, and then kind of keep you interested in like what this product is doing, right?
This is that second cleanup batter play again here. They kind of, after the initial hook, they're still doing very hooky stuff. These quick cuts, I mean, that's one like broad stroke that kind of across all accounts, like quick cuts are gonna be more attention keeping than long drawn out shots. The average attention span is like 2 seconds per shot.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, hopefully that makes it so takeaways there, like, yeah, satisfying things, product relevant things, something being opened, like, it's very product relevant. It's maybe not the most attention, it's not as attention grabbing as Chubby's, but it's product relevant. It's easier to get people onto the bridge from there. And then, but if you get, like, again, like with Boom by Cindy Joseph, not to the extreme level, like not in the middle of Boom by Cindy Joseph and like Chubby's, right? But if you get, like, they focus more on the seamlessness of the bridge and like how well they're bridging people. Like basically once you've got people onto the bridge, then you're focused on like, how do I make them stick around while I tell them more about how awesome this product is, so they do put a little heavier focus on that by continuing to use the cuts to keep attention, by progressing through different avatars, by really progressing through transformations and so you can see, like, start to see more extreme transformations as they go and stuff like that. So yeah. Anything else?
Great stuff. That's pretty much it, man. Yeah. I think it's, again, if you're still watching by this point in time, you probably are noticing some things on your own that you wish we would be saying, because there's lots of notes you could give about each one of these hooks and bridges, because I think we did a good job pulling out some good examples. We still have 2 or 3 left. We got a hard stop coming up here, so I'm going to try to pick up the pace a little bit and move quickly through here. Next example we have up here is Olipop, and Olipop. I might go ahead and let the audio play on this one. It might be helpful.
All right.
Right. So right out of the gate here. Okay. Now we don't need the audio for sure. But right out of the gate, the first thing, even before, like, I mean, this is kind of attention grabbing. It's kind of a weird thing they did here, right? This is more about the concept of like the ad itself. Like, oh, it's going to be a video game around our new flavor. But before that, I like this like triple screen thing they've done here.
Split screens. Yep.
Again, it's not something you normally see, even though it's not got a crazy effect of like backwards or sped up necessarily. Still, like that, especially 3 split screens, like stacked horizontally, is not very normal. If anything, you see split screen, it's usually 2 vertical side by side. This is 1, 2, 3 on top of each other,
or it's 1, 2, 3, right? Like it's 1 vertical, 2 square,
right? And what I think this does a good job of, because it's not the sexiest hook. Again, there is this like 3 things to pay attention to, which is nice, little sensory overload. But what it's doing here is kind of it at 3 times the speed, kind of getting you into the story already. It's telling you a whole storyboard. There's people driving, They see this diner, they pull up to the diner, boom. And that way they can get to a little bit more of the juicy part of the commercial or the ad a little bit faster. So by 3 seconds in, all you really do is see this this thing here that this guy walks past. And then the bridge is kind of like an entertaining kind of bridge. Like it's kind of like calling back to like a simpler time with this like old school looking game, and product mention comes pretty late in this, but it's kind of been incepting that idea into your head the whole time, because there's the game itself is called Orange Squeeze.
We had an Orange Pop, and then it's got Mandarin.
Just chasing oranges on the game. Come on.
Clementine. We turn away from high fructose corn syrup. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's one of these ads where you watch, the more times you watch it, the more you have more notes to say about it. But something about it, even on the first play, even though you can't put your finger on everything, you're like, they do a pretty good job here. So.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely more produced. It does have a commercial feel.
Yep.
And that, that's all right. Like, that's kind of what Olipop's about and stuff like that. Right. Like they've got a big retail presence. They're building a holistic company here. Right. Like they're not just a DTC player anymore.
Yeah.
But
they're a disruptor too. They like to be a little different. They want to disrupt, I think.
Right. So the new kind of stuff. I think my note on that is I mean, we use some hook elements of quick cuts. I mean, we had 3-4 cuts there in the first 3 seconds. Mm-hmm. We used a split screen, and then we like it's sort of like seamless transition in a way that it's like, it's not like, so if you're in doubt, right, just go hook to bridge, right, and just say like, hey, we're gonna say here's a hook, and we're gonna flow it, and then we're gonna like at the end of the hook, we're gonna come up with a way to like get them onto the bridge and bridge it, right? But what this does is it's a little bit more creative in that it's like it's all seamless, it's all hook, bridge, and pitch. The whole thing is hook, bridge, and pitch, right?
Yeah.
So the Olipop, like there's hints of the pitch in the hook, And then there's right. So you can get creative with it. And now that said, like, I think sometimes if you're looking for just straight ROAS or just straight, CPA, strong hook right to bridge, like going sequential like that may sometimes perform a little bit better than like kind of being subtle and putting hints of the pitch in the hook and then hints of the bridge in the hook and hints of the hook in the bridge and stuff like that. But it's still effective. And I think it's a different look, and that's,
it's similar to the Jones Road example, because I feel like you have to start with the fundamentals and understand it first. You have to understand the hook to bridge concept and understand the weight and how those things relate to each other and how a good combination of those things work. But once you kind of do understand that and kind of master it, the real masters who understand those concepts can kind of blend them a little bit better. Kind of how like the best athletes might kind of do something fundamentally wrong, but to make an amazing play every once in a while. Right. Derek Jeter came flying past home plate to shovel pass a ball. He never should have been in that part of the field, but it was one of the best plays of baseball history.
Right. I mean, probably one of the best examples is Steph Curry, right? Like, how often does he have his feet set like really the way somebody would be taught on a shot, right? But like,
never.
He can shoot. He's got it. He's got his weight distributed well enough to shoot well, right? Even if it seems like a circus. So, all right, I'm up here. See my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. The Betty Rocker. I'll just play it, and we can go sound off on this one actually. So we're 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're to the end of the hook. I would say that's the end of the bridge. This is a great example of like hook bridge, right? Like the element, they're kind of like set, like we're just going with the, hey, what would be a really good hook? And then let's go to a bridge. We don't need to blend them together. We're just hook, bridge. It's a very direct response ad. So, breaking it down a little bit, anything gravity defying, if you can do something gravity defying, Chubby's was also gravity defying, right? Like anything gravity defying is like, hold on a second. Like if you create confusion in the right way with your hook, if you create confusion in the wrong way, did I say this earlier? Like you don't want to create confusion in a way that makes people like, I'm confused, I'm leaving that, right? But like, I know I've like said this to you, this is funny. Sometimes we rehash conversations we've had, right? So yeah. I've said this to Casey before, but like, I don't know if it was on the show. But if you can create the right confusion, like that makes people be like, hold on, I need to look at that more, right? So things that are gravity defying do that. So we've got gravity defying and then gravity defying, but then you kind of get, either you're continuing to look at this, but the text then pulls your attention away from that into the text hook, sculpt your body from the inside out, right? So like very classic, like, whoever made this ad was like 3 seconds is the hook. Mm-hmm. And they basically on the 5th second transitioned away from the hook to the bridge.
Very intentional. They're aware. Shows awareness.
Right. Yeah. So it's, hey, we're stopping the scroll with this gravity defying thing. We're pulling this over here to like start the bridge. Okay. We're still in the hook. Sculpt your body from the inside out. Weird concept. What does that mean? Because your body is on the outside, right? Sculpting your body happens on the outside. I mean,
it's still your body on the inside. Just
right. Yeah. Well, like when people think of a sculpted body, they think of the outside of the body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So sculpt your body from the inside out. And like, so my attention's here now, right? Like I'm 3 seconds in and my attention's here. Okay. With easy, delicious rep. Oh, okay. Okay. You mean food. I get it. Right. Because what I eat has more to do with how my body looks. I got it. Right. So I'm bridged there. And then, eliminate restrictive dying. Oh, now we're into selling value props. Right. So hook, bridge, value props. Very classic, just right on through. The other thing that this does here is, average watch times 3-4 seconds, something like that, 5 seconds maybe. So if you do miss the bridge here and you just go ahead and click through right in here, or, before there, we continue the bridge right there. Learn, so if sculpt your body from the inside out, if I'm not really fully, what are you even talking about? But the sideways thing was kind of cool. So I clicked the ad, learn my time saving eating secrets and see a day of meals broken down. So you can copy me. Oh, okay. So you're going to teach me how to eat, right? Body from the inside out. I get it. Right. And it's an industry, again, it's industry specific. We don't have to overly tell people about, how they can eat better and look better. So yeah, I don't know. That's my breakdown. Sorry, I went away. Like you didn't break it down. You go.
Two things here real quick. First of all, you mentioned saying something on the show or not on the show that you've said to me before. That happens to me all the time. I can never remember where we've had conversations because we talk all day basically. But I will say that if anybody has noticed us repeating ourselves on our show, like, you must watch a decent amount of Modern Commerce.
You must be our biggest fan. Yeah.
So thanks for hanging around. We'll do it again, I'm sure, but we apologize for it. Second, I will say here, less kind of about the hook bridge concept, because I think you covered those bases really well. I would say sometimes you don't always need the super highly produced videos. This is a slideshow. It's easy to forget.
Yep.
Yeah, these are just still images with transitions, which
a lot of them are stock images.
Yeah, and I think a decent amount of good hooks come from like a solid transition from like, maybe even just in a slideshow. That first slide to the next with a little kind of strange transition to the next slide is pretty huge. So even if you don't have the highest budget for shooting creatives, you can do something like this. It doesn't take the Hollywood studio budget to do it. You don't have to do it the Olipop way where they shot basically an old school commercial.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we went from Olipop to, it's a very direct response ad. This is a copywriter's ad, and then it goes to a copywriter's landing page.
Yep.
So like,
love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good ad. It probably is very effective.
I would wager to bet. Wait, what am I trying to say? Whatever. Wager to bet is not a thing. That's just saying
I would wager. I think you can just say I would wager.
I don't know. There's something
a little redundant.
Yeah, some I was going for there, but I forgot what it was. Anyway, moving along into something we do know something about, maybe. All right, last one I have here. John, do you still have one more left?
I got one more.
Okay, so John will take it home for us.
We'll hustle. Casey has a hard stop here in a little bit. So
yeah, but we'll get to mine before John's here. So watching this one's from Happy Viking. And I'll just let the ad do its own talking. Oh, yeah, that started at the beginning. Okay. So at first glance, I think, and I kind of put this one at the end on purpose, because at first glance, I don't think this seems like it fits very well in this episode to a lot of people, right? I think it's similar to, I can't remember which example it was, but right away, it's calling out to a certain kind of person. It's
high key. Yeah.
Yeah. So exactly, it's kind of already pre-selling right from the get-go. Even in the hook, it's starting the bridge. The hook and the bridge start simultaneously. What I would call the hook here is there are several elements of motion, which if you have nothing else, motion can be a good hook. It's got this ticker across the top. It's got this kind of scrolling features thing going on here, and a more subtle one, but kind of the most like delicious looking thing that make you fall in love with the product is this drip down the side of the cup. Now, maybe standalone, any one of these things isn't a great hook, but collectively, I think it's an okay hook together. The reason I put this in here is because of the bridge. The bridge is strong. It's already kind of going from hook. The hook and the bridge are simultaneous, and it's essentially selling you right from the jump here, while hopefully grabbing your attention pretty well. It's
hook, bridge, and pitch all in the same ad in a short ad, which is cool. That's a good way to do it. Yeah, sorry, are you done? I really have a short note on this one, and this is it.
No, that's pretty much it, is that it is all three in one, but it's got different elements happening at the same time that are meant to do those things. Really, if I had to break it down, I'd say this top one is the best point of the hook because it's got like the fastest, quickest movement of like that ticker going across, especially when you're scrolling like vertically through a feed, something moving horizontally can grab your attention a little bit easier. And like the bridge is already here with a little bit of this. And I mean, it's like, this just looks delicious, this is a plant-based protein product and I could care less. Like I'm not a plant-based eater, but I want to drink that shake. So
by the bridge, we know that this is a good, better for you product. Yep. You know what I mean? And then we see, it's a delicious looking shake that I would drink even if it wasn't better for me. And I then feel guilty about it. So now I don't have to. So yeah, no, it's, I think, my only note on that is just a couple things that like can make good hooks that like might already naturally exist with your product. Number one, if your product does something like demonstrably or demonstratably incredible, meaning like, we've got a brand that we work with that, it's a rug that if you spill on it, you can just wipe up the spill. It doesn't, it won't absorb into the rug. You can just wipe it right up. If it does that, and it really does that, it's visually like incredible to see. Just show it doing that. That's like a really good hook if your product does something like that. Or if there is any element of your product that just like looks satisfying, So like this, it just looks delicious. That like shake running down, it just like looks satisfying. Or Jones Road Beauty, where it's like pink and it's attention grabbing, and it's like that texture that kind of like looks satisfying. Like when you have like a brand new tub of something like that and you like put your finger in, it's like, ooh, yeah, like kind of like breaking the seal on that like tub of the product type of thing. So like, yeah, if you, anything that looks satisfying. So those are like two things that like might already exist in your product that can just start there, you know?
Yeah, where are my peanut butter people at? That's what I want to know. That's immediately where I go. Is I want to get that first scoop out of the peanut butter jar. That's incredible. You know, something else you maybe
dipping in to the peanut butter jar the first time. Like,
love it.
There's a reason why stuff like that is in ads all the time for food.
Satisfying. Yep. And you know, something else you made me think of with the rug example. The person who personifies the hook to bridge concept probably better than anybody I could think of is the ShamWow guy. I don't know his real name, but we all know him as the ShamWow guy.
The ShamWow guy.
It's constantly like he's showing off how it works, but he's like kind of incepting ideas into your head the whole time as he's talking. He's talking so fast, and you're like, man, he's doing all three at once, but he's got a formula, and he's just that master of his craft to where you're like, I've been sold in 60 seconds somehow.
Yeah. Okay. Give me that thing, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I'm not gonna like do too much intro here. I'm just gonna like, there we go. I mean, that's the thumbnail. So again, don't forget about thumbnails. So this is the thumbnail. I'll leave sound on here.
Oh no.
4, 5, 6 seconds.
You know, made from plants. There's no chemicals in it.
Okay, we're through the bridge, I think. Right? Like now you're fully aware what the product is and what the value prop is. So, I mean, let's break this down. Right away, Hook, why is she like naked? Oh, no, she's wrapped in bubble wrap. Why is she wrapped in bubble wrap? Right? So it's like, we've got just a concept, Hook, here. Like you had to plan this before you shot it.
Yeah. Confusion.
Right. So then boom, something very normal happening. People drop, and now we're starting to bridge. We show a phone case.
It's a Pila case. You know, made from plants.
Okay. So we show a phone case at about 3-4 seconds. So we're starting the bridge, and then it's a Pila case made from plants. Now we're past the bridge into the value prop, right? But what else did I do here? Do we know why she's wearing bubble wrap yet?
No, we don't. No resolution.
Yeah, no resolution yet. So there's not much you can say about a phone case, right? Like, how do you do a hook and bridge on a phone case? Like, here's the phone case. Once people know it's a phone case, it's like, oh, okay, cool. I either like it or I don't. But if I want to say more about, you know, why this product is valuable or why you might want this product, I need to come up with some kind of mechanism of keeping you around. So the hook remains a hook that's still in you, even though you're over the bridge, because you still have an open loop in your head. Why is she in bubble wrap?
So, you know, we talk about in video ads, the first 3 seconds being the hook, and that's kind of pretty standardized. You know, we don't give a lot of wiggle room to the hook for that. In the bridge, I think we give a lot of wiggle room. It could be anything, right? It could be the next 3 seconds. It could be, you know, the rest of the video, plus like the landing page you land on could still be part of the bridge. Mm-hmm. But I think no matter how long your bridge is, it's important to keep attention span in mind. And I like that they didn't wait too long to get to product reveal. I actually like what you're talking about. I like that they went to product reveal and offer prop before they get to resolution of this concept that they came up with. Because the concept is great for attracting attention, but like resolving this concept, this overarching like theme to the ad is secondary, tertiary really to getting the product out there and telling people what it's about. Because you can tell a great story. Storytelling is a good part of marketing, I think, but it is not the, some people might disagree, but it's not the main, it's not my main objective is to tell a story about a girl in bubble wrap, at least. You know what I mean? Like that story is great for like starting the new story of like this plant-based phone case is going to change your life. That's the story I want to tell. Not
or it's going to change
what's going to happen to this girl in bubble wrap. Like
exactly. So this is a kind of like a Harmon Brothers, like, you know, inspired ad. And, you know, the Harmon Brothers is famous for making these really great, really viral, really great story driven, funny videos. And oftentimes they do not even intro product until a minute in, which is hard to pull off. Yeah. Like in terms of like actually making it convert at your metrics. I think there was a time where like, you know, with Squatty Potty and with, you know, what was their first one that like got big? Not Poopery, not Purple Mattress. I don't know. They've had so many, but like, oh man, yes, Squatty Potty chat books. It's like they don't intro product until like a minute in. And I think there's been some big hits, but now that they've kind of set that model, a bunch of people are trying that, and it's a little less effective.
Yeah.
Right?
And also just if I can butt in
really well.
If I can butt in, good luck as an agency marketer, like defending that if it doesn't work too.
Oh yeah, you got to be right. It's got to
be right. If you're going to reveal the product a minute in, better be a great performing ad, because otherwise the client's like, hey, here's a really obvious glaring issue with this ad that I see. Why did we do this? It's not working. And you go,
and that was expensive to produce.
Right.
So if they actually need it to return, Pella did a much safer thing, or much, in my opinion, probably better thing here, where they did go with that style. We are going to tell a story. We are going to do kind of a funny thing here, but we're going to intro product. We're just going to keep this open loop going so that we can still tell this story, but we're going to intro product earlier on, and we're going to intro the value prop early on, and do a classic hook bridge concept that typically works really well in direct response. Or is easier, right? Like, I don't want to say it's like, better to do it this way, or like doing it the Harmon Brothers way isn't, right? Because there's been many of long form sales copywriters, direct response copywriters who have not introed product to way down, and like it works. Or the Harmon Brothers, who've made maybe more winning ads than any other, video agency, and it works. But it's like, man, you got to nail it. Like, man, it's tough, right? Like, and it's a lot of eggs in a basket, because it's a lot of resource, either in money that you're paying someone, or in time and effort on your own part. So like, you hedge your bets a little bit more by, maybe we're going to do that concept, but we're going to do something that, like, we could have just played that as an 11-second video ad and it would have worked.
Guys, we made it through all the examples. John, as is true to the format of the show, it would not be right to end the show without a parting shot. The honors are yours today. Please give us your parting shot for this hook bridge combination episode.
Yeah. So I will keep it short. Honestly, I think that what we didn't say here is, and we kind of stopped grading them after a while, because really the concept here is that, like, none of this is right or wrong. The fact that Boom by Cindy Joseph doesn't use a super attention grabbing hook isn't wrong. The fact that Chubby's does isn't right. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a super attention head grabbing hook or a super strong bridge. Like, there's not one formula. I think the point here, like with everything we varied, was like, understand the point is that you need to understand the hook and bridge concept, right? What am I doing to grab attention, and how attention grabbing is that? So how much bridge do I need to get them to the product? Or is it not very attention grabbing, and we're already right into the bridge, right? Just understanding the hook and bridge concept. I think, the episode's called something like, we don't necessarily have the title yet when we shoot it. The episode's called something like, the one secret to ads that, sell the best. And the one secret isn't like, here's this hook and bridge formula. The one secret really is understand the hook and bridge concept.
Yeah. Learn your shit.
Yeah. Learn your stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's, understand the hook and bridge concept. And then you've got really a lot at your disposal, because then you're talking about, now I know how to open and narrow the floodgates the right amount, like understanding value props and using social proof and psychology that's all stuff that kind of comes after the hook and bridge. But knowing, like, I can open the floodgates this much or this much or this much, that's really like dialing that in a lot of times, especially with social advertising for e-commerce products, where the product is a physical thing that helps people. The dialing in that concept a lot of times is enough to just like bring your ads, up by degrees, that will make them convert a lot better.
Modern Commerce, it's been real. On behalf of John and myself, we had a great time today. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get notifications about whenever we drop new content on the channel. And as always, until next time,